International Space Station. We are flying around the planet with 28,000 kilometers an hour, about 400 kilometers altitude around the planet here. Now, it's a big space station, and it's about 1200 cubic meters. It's 100 by 80 meters, and a lot of modules. And I'm going to show you around in all the modules. We are here in the top module, and on top of the space station is the Japanese module JOP, where we have all kinds of cargo, and that is connected to the GEM, and that's where we go now. The GEM is the Japanese module. We leave the Earth here. Bye bye, Earth. So the Japanese module is pretty big. It's one of the biggest modules. It's nice, it's clean, it's roomy, and one of the features that we have here is an airlock. So this is an airlock where we can put in payloads, and it goes then outside to the external platform. You see here also two windows, so we can watch the outside world and activities on the platform through the windows. It's night at the moment, so there's not much to see, but we'll see a bit of that later. Now we have a strange effect, because now you look down on me or straight at me, but then if all of a sudden you turn around the corner, then it looks a bit different. So here we're floating in the GEM, and this is a place where we have a lot of scientific racks, express racks. We have a rack for fluid physics. You mentioned it, and we have it. Of course, the work here is done by all the different astronauts. So it can be that a European is working here, Japanese, American, whoever, and that's the interesting aspect, that we use the whole station for all of us. You see that I'm standing on a rack. This is the Melfi. This is where we freeze things. So this is until -100. It's pretty cold, and that's why we have blood samples, urine samples for return to Earth. So there is where we save it. You see that I hold my feet under handrails, so we have to, because we're floating, you keep control of yourself with these handrails, with bungee cords, things like that, and everything has to be fixed somehow. So we have everywhere we have Velcro. With a little pen like this, there's a little piece of Velcro on it, and you stick it to the wall. You know, we have tape everywhere to fix things. We have this kind of Velcro straps, so you can fix it around cables, and so you need all these things to keep your stuff in place, because otherwise you lose it. It just floats away, and it doesn't fall down. You know, so if I don't follow this for a certain amount of time, it's gone, and it's hard to find. There is a place where you can find things, and this is here, for example, on the inlet filters. For example, some raisins, which I showed to my children, but that you can eat from the air, and they escape. And once you, after a while, you find them back at the air inlet. So that's always a good place to look for things. So, if you continue, then you see everywhere laptops. So this is something that we have around everywhere for the different racks. We have laptops for our daily work. We have laptops for the systems, all these kind of things. And what you see as well here is stowage. You see everywhere the room is used. So we have behind all these straps, we have stowage that goes 3 layers deep, and it's always a challenge to find you things. So it's not only like this, it's also, for example, in a rack like this. So you can tilt these racks, and it's maybe interesting to demonstrate what is behind a certain rack like this. So you can see that also behind there is cargo. Now this is a soft cover, but you can also tilt the whole rack. So it's possible to move a whole rack. That requires, of course, some more work. That's clear. Okay. Then we continue this way, and it's all floating. And that's a nice thing from space flight. The floating itself is nice, working with microgravity is a bit more difficult. You see that the modules, they can be closed with hatches. Here we have an example of a hatch. So in case there is an issue with a leak, for example, then we can quickly close these hatches. During my mission we had once a debris avoidance maneuver possibility, so there was something coming to the station and that was not tracked, and as a security measure, safety measure, we closed the hatches and waited in our Soyuz. Everything was fine, but this was a moment that we did close the hatches to the modules. On the side, if we talk about emergency cases, we have equipment for emergencies. Of course, if you lose the light, if you lose the lamps, then we have flashlights. But we also have fire. For fire, we have oxygen bottles with masks. We have fire extinguishers, and on a lot of places in the space station, we have this equipment in case we need it. Luckily, we don't have this problem yet, and but we have our fire drills, for example. Okay. Then, here we are in node 2. We talk about a little bit more, but interesting to mention is this hatch, because this is the hatch where, for example, the Dragon docks. So at the moment I'm watching into space, and below us is the Earth, but a little while ago we had here the Dragon, and in the future there will be more of these visiting vehicles there. We use it now, for example, to stow water. This bags, what you have here, this is water. So we have a lot of water on board for all kind of purposes. We can drink it. We can also use it to make oxygen out of. So this water is a very important thing on board, because we use it in many ways. So we cross and we go into the Columbus module. Now it's a busy module. It's a European module. It's pretty compact, and I've been working on every rack here. This is a very interesting module, and it's used a lot, for example, for medical research, because we have here the HRF racks, so the US racks here as well. So it's a European module, but it's filled with racks from other agencies as well, and it's interesting to work here. It's very full, and sometimes we work here with several people. Here, for example, I recently installed Althea, which is a radiation experiment. We have the biolab here. Beyond that, we have physiology racks, what I mentioned about. On top of you, so if you look up here, this is the fluid science lab. So here we do fluid experiments. So you see also the ceiling is used for all kind of experiment stuff. Now, medical experiments can be a lot. We have ultrasound. We have an ultrasound machine, so we make echoes of our eyes, of our heart, our muscles, etc. And but we can also take blood samples. We have EEG, ECG. We have a centrifuge here for the blood samples. So this is say a mini hospital. And also here you see that everything has to stick to the wall with Velcro or sticky tape, tape everywhere just to keep things in place, like the Velcro straps. On this side you see the monitors. We also do some PEO events, so let's say perambulation events, so we talk to the ground with all these cameras. This is the MARES. This is a machine to measure muscle coordination, muscle strength, and see how bad the atrophy is. We train a lot, but we are going to measure, because we don't use our muscles so much here, how serious that problem is and what we can do about it. What kind of exercise is best. So here you see an example how we get rid of trash. We have this kind of things to put trash in, and like I showed before, behind these covers we have all kind of cargo, and that's same for the ceiling. You see we have the lamps everywhere, we have ventilation outlets, we have power bricks. You see all these things, this blue bricks for power supply. You see that a lot. And so you have to be careful when you float around, because there's cables everywhere and you don't want to get stuck behind that. So we go out of Columbus and we go to Node 2, which is an interesting place because this is where we sleep. And work. So we have some work tables, so you can do all kind of things and repair equipment. So this is you can move this around, and here we can do repairs. Now the sleeping is interesting because it doesn't matter, because we float, so you can sleep on the ceiling or wherever you want. So that means that, for example, Gennady is sleeping on the ceiling here, and there's somebody sleeping on the floor, and Joe and me are sleeping upright, so some kind of cupboard. So you have your own place, and that is nice. It's a place where you have your own stuff. You have your sleeping bag, you have some computers, and you keep your stuff in here, family pictures and things like that. And that's just your place, so it's nice to have your own place. Where you can retreat, you can watch a movie, do your email and things like that. So this is a nice area. There's 4 of us here. There's 2 more, but they sleep in the Russian segment. So we float through the lab. One of the things in the lab you can see straight away, this is the bike. So people can exercise. We have to exercise every day to stay in a bit in shape. So for cardiovascular reasons, the biking is very good. It's good for your heart muscle, because also your heart muscle goes down a bit and degenerates a bit. In here, a lot of scientific research as well. The US lab. We have also here a Melfi freezer, and we also have another sleeping quarters for the 7th crew member. Let's see if he's home. And here is the 7th crew member. This is Robonaut. So Robonaut has been active, and who knows, in the future will do the routine job for us, the routine jobs or dangerous jobs. Now here we have camera equipment. For example, we have a lot of cameras. Some of the cameras we cannot use anymore because they're getting old, and so now and then we get new equipment up. We have on the ceiling, you see a lot of things, a lot of cables. All this equipment we work with. It could be for air quality measurements, for example, or we have over there things, equipment for radiation. We have the express racks. We have portable equipment, or semi-portable, because it's installed here for a while. This is the portable pulmonary function system with a lot of different cables, so it's always a challenge to get that activated. We have this microgravity science glove box. It's always nice for me, because it's built by a Dutch company in Holland. And this is a nice place where we do experiments with for example, combustion, or equipment with dangerous materials inside. So it's all contained in this glove box. So we pass by the bike. Just finishing up. Now the CVIS is one of the 3 ways where we train. We run, we do fitness, so weightlifting, or what is it, against vacuum, and we do the biking. We have also, in case we have a medical problem, we have a medical rack. This is a medical rack with a lot of equipment in there for serious cases like a defibrillator and all kind of other equipment for resuscitation. But also just the normal packs for medication, for minor infections and things like that. And this whole rack is filled with equipment where we use to see how the bacteria growth is on board, what the water quality is, sound levels, all these kind of things, the environmental health system. This is all done from this rack. We even have a stretcher. You can imagine if somebody really has a heart attack, which is very unlikely because the astronauts are all pretty healthy people. But in case you need a stretcher to put somebody in a fixed position, then we have that here. We are on this side. We are in a robotic area, so this means that from here we can operate the robotic arm. We have two of these stations, the robotic workstations. We have two of them. One is in the Cupola, and one is here in the lab. And with these monitors you can see what's going on, what the arm is doing, and where the spaceship is or where the payload is. And this is operated here with two hand controllers. And there's even a simulator for that, and that simulator is on the other side. So with this we can practice for certain robotic activities. This area is interesting because this is our food warmer. So in here we can put our food, and we heat it up. And we have a printer, also important of course. And so the food is this kind of packages. We'll come to that later, and it gets pretty warm. So beside the food we have, let's see on the other side, this is important to show. In case of an emergency we have these books. At several strategic places we have these emergency books. In case we lose power and lights and computers, then we still have the books and see which actions we have to take. And if there is an emergency, there are three emergencies, we will see this here. A fire, a leak, or a leak from the pressure, or ammonia leak when ammonia comes into the cabin. The communication with the ground goes via these ATUs, these audio terminal units, and this is how we talk. We have two channels which we use mostly. We use channel 2 in the US segment and channel 1 in the Russian segment, but that can be switched. So from here we move over to node 1, one of the first modules that was launched. It was docked to the FGB. The FGB was the first one, Saria in '98, and the next one was this node. So this is a pretty old node. Actually, this is the place where I slept during my first flight, on the floor here. There is now something else where we get to later, but I slept here above this hedge. So this is the place where we eat. Here we have our food, we have our dinner table, and we can watch a movie here that we do say on Friday evenings. And also here, as you see the table, bungees, Velcro, grey tape to fix your food. And yeah, it's of course difficult to keep clean. So you see some spots here and there from the coffee or whatever. We have also some nice stuff on the wall that everybody can use. We have our utensils here. Here's my spoon, for example, we keep here. And yeah, if we look around, because I'd like to show you where the food comes from. Here we can put all kind of things to store. Oh yeah, this is maybe interesting. This is a barcode reader. So whenever we have something deployed, be it a t-shirt, tissues or whatever, then with the barcode reader we can let the system know where we took it from and where it goes. And then, because it's a big station with a lot of items, this way the ground and we ourselves, we know where we left something. It might be a week, it might be half a year before that somebody used it, and nobody knows then where it is from memory. So we need this system. The food we get from here here we have all kind of different food that comes in big packages, and we have here a package for tea, for drinks, meats, eggs and fruit, veggies, etc., etc. So it's pretty good. There's a lot of variation in it, and if it's not good enough, then we have our bonus food. So we have bonus food containers. So things you like specifically, particularly, you can get from these bonus food containers. Also, say chocolate from your hometown and things like that. It's all here. This is a node, means there's a lot of things attached to it. One of the things is, especially from a visual point of view, very interesting. This is the crew lock and the airlock. So this is where the US spacewalks start. So we have here the crew lock where people get, well, it's a dressing room. They get dressed. They put the spacesuits on and camp out here to get rid of the nitrogen in their blood, etc. So this is a place to prepare. All materials are there, and then once people are ready, they go into the airlock, and in the airlock there is the hatch, and from there you can go outside. Now the spacesuits are mini spaceships with their own supply of oxygen, with their own radio, even own propulsion in case of need. And of course it's a pressurized hull. The spacesuits are very interesting mini spaceships. So there the airlock and all the equipment. So this hatch will close, and then people can go outside from that airlock to the rest of the station. We also have, of course, the possibility to go outside from the Russian segment, and that we will see later. So the Russians have different spacesuits. So we float. Let's go to the cellar, and we had visiting modules going with the space shuttle. These were the MPLMs, and now we have one permanently attached. And this is our cellar, and here we have a lot of stuff. So let's float down. This is like diving in a cave, and that's why we put this up here, because it reminds us a bit of nature. These are the normal straps that are around food containers, but we made this our little underwater garden with. It's like diving off the coast of Los Angeles. You know, you feel like a sea lion here, floating through the kelp. So this is a place where we stow a lot of things. We have food here, but also trash. You know, old clothes, expired food, equipment that we don't use anymore. We stow it there until it gets loaded in a cargo ship, and then it burns up in the atmosphere. So it's a difficult place to orient yourself, because you know it all looks the same, and sometimes you don't know what is left and right and up and down anymore. Interesting place. And it's now called the PMM. So it's the pressurized, I don't know, actually the second M means module, the pressurized something module. Now you come out of it, and then you think, okay, where am I now? Because you have to orient yourself. Okay, what was up and down, and oh yeah, there's the airlock. So the one we didn't have yet is on this side, and that is the node 3, and that's an interesting module. We can go there later, because I like to show you also the outside, and that is something nice for the end. So if we
I'll be out in just a minute, Andre.
It's okay. And so from this side, this is the end of the USOS. So the US part. So we go now to the Russian part of the space station, and we go first through the docking port, say the docking between the first Russian part and the first US part, and that is the PMM. And it has a certain shape. It had to do with the docking of the space shuttle. So it goes a bit like a tube. And here we save, if we have our clothes, our washing cloths, dry wipes, white wipes, trousers, whatever you can think of, your personal hygiene stuff, toothbrushes, it's all here. So it's always an interesting place to fly through. And so follow me, and we go to the Russian segment. Immediately there is a different sound, there's more noise, different colors, different style, docking mechanisms are different, so this is the front part of the FGB. The FGB was the first module that was launched, and so you see all these tubes here, so this is for ventilation between the US segment and the Russian segment. You see the hatches here. We see on all the hatches we see this kind of sensors. So these sense the pressure. If there is a pressure loss somewhere, there will be an airflow, and this airflow will be registered. And this way we can see on the computers where the leak probably is. So everywhere we see these valves for closing the system, controlling the pressure. We see emergency equipment, we have gas masks, we have fire extinguishers, cable cutters and things like that. All on strategic places. And of course communication equipment here on this side. So with this we can communicate with the ground. It's a bit more narrow, so let's go through the FGB. The FGB is one of the places where we first had our hygiene station. So this was here and it's still in use with the Russians. So this was before all the other stuff. We had this part here. The FGB is half full with equipment. So this is for the toilet. We have also a piece of equipment of a treadmill, for example. Food boxes, so this is a lot used for storage. Also behind this cupboard there's a lot of equipment for the whole station. So this is a storage module. The first one, pretty old. What's interesting with the Russian modules is that they have Velcro all over the place. So the whole wall is Velcro. I like that personally because you can always stick something to it. Let's continue. So, floating through here, we have ammonia respirators. So for everybody, personal, and this is in case of an ammonia leak, because that will be in the US segment. So we immediately get out of there, close the hatches, and then we put on masks, and then we can measure if there is indeed high concentration of ammonia. Very unlikely, but we are prepared to be safe for that. So from the FGB, functional cargo block, or SARIA, we continue to the SM, which is the bridge of the ship. So the surface module. So here we are in the service module, and this is where the space station is, say, controlled with engines. This is the heart of the Russian part of the space station, and you see it's very much used with lots of cameras, lots of stuff, lots of computers. An important thing for safety is this. These are the manipulators, so here we can see the pressure independent of any electronics or whatsoever. This is the pure pressure that we see here. on this place that people can control the progress. We control the ATV, this is a place for visiting cargo ships for the Russian part. You see here the laptops, and we have a lot of windows. Here on the floor of the SM there's a lot of different windows for taking pictures at night, so you prevent reflection, so you have these kind of things. And also here, bungees everywhere to stick your feet under. This is a device to measure your mass, your body mass, because we don't have weight, but we still have mass, and we can measure that with this device. Talking about cameras, so we can take pictures of pretty much pretty small details actually. We have here, for example, also procedure books. So if it's not electronic, for the Russian systems we have all the procedure books here. Here's the M radio. So with this we can talk with schools and amateur radio stations. Here we have the medical rec, the Russian medical rec for their experiments. So we don't use that so much. And that was the small part. Here we have the big part of the SM, and here we can get water from in the system with a pump, and you get drinking water. Also a food warmer box we have here, and all kind of equipment for, of course, the communication equipment to talk with the ground. So these are the communication panels that we have in the Russian segment. So this is where we train a lot for in Star City. This side, the dinner table. Here, part of it is moved to Note 1, and this is the original part. And here we have the food warmer for cans. You put our food in, you heat it up. This is where you trash your food. So this is very good bags for moist food and leftovers. This is where you get your water. So you connect a bag here and put the handle down, and then you push there how many milliliters you want, and then you have your soup or your tea or whatsoever. This is the treadmill from the Russian side. Of course you connect yourself with bungees so you don't float away. Two cayutas, which I mentioned already. There's 4 in Note 2, and there's 2 here. So this is where 2 of the Russian cosmonauts sleep. We continue here, because here's the Russian toilet. Later on we will see the US toilet, but this is the Russian toilet. And the Russian toilet, well, it's the same actually as the American one, because it's the same device. This is for urine. Urine is used to make water again, so drinking water or technical water. So we use the urine, and the solid waste goes in these containers, and when they're full they are replaced, and finally that burns up in the atmosphere. Now for half a year there is a European visitor, which is the automated transfer vehicle, and this is connected on the back side of the space station. So this is the ATV number 3, and it brings a lot of cargo, but also water, for example, air, oxygen that's pumped to the space station. So it provides the space station with a lot of consumables, cargo, air, water, but also fuel. Behind here is the engine part. So this is pressurized, and behind this wall there's the unpressurized section of ATV, and there, for example, we have the fuel tanks, because the fuel, which is also part of the transporter, but the fuel is used for boosting. So we have progress, the Russian cargo ship for fueling the engines of the space station and for boosting. But ATV has a great position to put the space station in a higher orbit, because we lose a bit of altitude every time. So here we are stowing it now with things we don't need anymore, be it foam, be it trash, and be it old pieces of equipment. And when it's full, after half a year, it disappears. So we fly back now and we go to see some side modules. By the way, on the hatches you see some clamps for extra security, and also again these flow meters.
Naar boven.
This is on top of the space station. So the space station is on top. So we're looking up now. And yeah, it's full, even with the spacesuit for Russian spacewalks. You see here towels, you see everywhere, you see clothing and towels dry, because we need all the humidity, because we recycle the water. So there's things like trash, parts for experiments, equipment, and attached to it is a Soyuz. So we have one Soyuz on top and one Soyuz on the bottom of the space station. So this is the Soyuz from Joe, Gennady, and Sergei. And we will later on see the Soyuz from the 3M, from the Don and Alec and me. Here you see how the docking mechanism works a bit. So this is the hatch from the Soyuz. On the front you have this probe that is normally before docking extended. This probe gets into contact with this. Let's put the light on. Okay. This is the part from the station. So the probe gets into this hole and then pulls itself in, and once it's fixed, then these two sides are attached to each other. There are big hooks, they grab each other and close, and then there's a good fix, and then the inside hatch can open. So this one's open and this one opens this way, and people can get in. So this is how the Russian docking mechanism works, and also for the ATV, by the way. So that's the same principle. Also here, emergency equipment, pressure sensors and things like that. So from the top we go to the other side. Hard to follow. This is the SO. So this is the docking compartment for the Russian side. So from here, spacewalks are done. So here we see two spacesuits or lots. They're a bit different. Of course, the principle is the same, but different design than the US spacesuits. Two windows. So from here you can also see planet Earth. And so these hatches will then, one of these hatches goes open for a Russian spacewalk. On this docking module we have a progress. So this is the Russian cargo ship, the progress. So we have ATV, we can have Dragon, HCV, and the Russian one is the progress. And this is how the progress looks inside. So this is now used to stow cargo and now to stow trash, and then it burns up. So it's always nice if a progress ship is coming, because it brings all kind of fresh fruit, for example. So we're always waiting for a progress. Go back down or up. What was it? So we go back to the FGB, and it depends on how you look at it. So now I'm flying backwards, over the ceiling, down. Well, here we are at the beginning of the Russian, at the FGB, and there's the US segment, and here is MIM-1, and on that one, so this is down from the station, is our Soyuz dock. So let's go there, we can have a look in the Soyuz. So here we are in the BO. So this is the living module, this the little module on top of the landing capsule, and so this is where we spent 2 days on our way to the station and half a day on our way back. Well, not in here anymore. This is a place to stow our spacesuits, for example. So let's see. This is done. Then we have my spacesuit. So it's waiting for me, and when it's time to return, we get in here, we close the hatch, this hatch here, and then we prepare. So here also this mechanism what I talked about. So this hatch is closed, and then we go down into the Soyuz landing capsule, and this is pretty tight. So this is the seat of the commander where I'm sitting. This is the hatch, so the hatch closes like this. And then after we enter the atmosphere, about 100 kilometers, 140 kilometers, we separate, and 140 kilometers we separate from the living module and the engine module, which is below us, and only this part with 3 persons sitting here, only this part has a heat shield, and that comes down through the atmosphere. So this will be the outside hatch. So once we land, people open this hatch, and then or we do it ourselves, and then we can get out again. I will try to get to my seat here to see how much we can still see that. So I will be on the left seat. It's tight. If you're used to all this station roomy place, then this is tight. I close the hatch for a moment to move over. So here I'm sitting. I have my procedure books here, so whenever it's needed we can land. The headset, I have to mention we do this in our spacesuit, so it's going to be very tight. And so all the equipment is here. So you can imagine that you cannot bring much back. So that's good that we have Dragon nowadays, so we can also bring samples from experiments back, for example. Look at with the camera. So I show a little bit how it looks like the inside. Okay. So here we have the dashboard and the buttons to use, important valves, little window. Okay, and on the other side there's the seats. Okay. Okay, go back to the PMA, to the US segment. So we're back in the US segment here, coming from the Soyuz, which is down, to the Mimadine PMA back in node 1 with all the connections. And one module we didn't see yet, and I leave this for the end because it has also the cupola. And that is node 3. Node 3 is very interesting from an orientation point of view. Because, well, we have the feeling that we're up right now. So we're floating inside here. And well, looks okay. That's the toilet. But the first thing is already strange that my shoes, for example, are here on the ceiling. And why do I need shoes in space? I want to run. So the running, so it is a harness which you connect to what? To the treadmill. The treadmill is 90 degrees. So this is the treadmill. So this is already a 90-degree change. So you take your harness and you fix that to this thing, bungees. So you can stay on one place and you can really run, otherwise you float off, of course. So then you run on this treadmill, and here you can watch a movie, here you can get your protocol, what you have to run. Every day it's a bit different. And so this is how we do our running. Now, if you turn around, how I see it, then the whole module looks different, because now all of a sudden the toilet is here on the floor. So the whole thing looks different. This is a different place. If I run here, I have a totally different view than if I do an experiment with this device, or experiment where I measure the water with. So it looks again totally different. And that is all of a sudden the floor, and I'm working upside down. Now, if we are in the normal way again, then we get to the next thing of this great node, and that is the toilet. So this is, like I said, like the Russian toilet. Of course, there's another bit of another layout, but the toilet it's in principle the same. There's also, by the way, a lot of electronics for it, because behind all the boards we have all the equipment to get the water in all the systems to clean it. Now, under this floor, I can show you a little bit, for example, how it looks like and how the water is cleaned. Let's open this a little bit, so they can have a little look on the equipment that is used for cleaning the water. For example, we have the big tanks here, and so we connect cables, and sometimes we take the tanks out and put other tanks in, or and now we have nowadays new tanks which can be reused. So it's becoming more and more recycling. and also the equipment can be reused now. So that's good. Very interesting. The water is then purified, and like I said, we use also the water, for example, to make oxygen out. And that's behind this track, for example, and this is the port where the oxygen comes from. So we use the water to make oxygen. So what's left over, you have oxygen and you have hydrogen. The hydrogen would normally be thrown into space, but we can also use the hydrogen because the air that we breathe out has carbon dioxide, and if you combine the hydrogen with the carbon dioxide, you can have water again. So you get your water back. And we have still methane left, but maybe I can have a little burner next time or something, and you can even use the methane for future. So we are really recycling a lot of water, which is important because every ounce, every kilogram costs a lot of money to bring up. So we have this is a hygiene place. We have stuff here to wash. We can use the toilet here. We have no rinse shampoo, so we don't have to use a lot of water to wash. We don't have a shower. Then we get to the other interesting exercise device, which is ARED, and this is for weightlifting. Well, we don't have weights, so we use vacuum cylinders. But you see, it's upside down again. So this is how we see it if we are on it, and so we turn around, and this is the place where we stand on. So it's really interesting module with all the orientation. So this is where we stand. We can do the weightlifting here with this bar. We have all kind of little bench, a place for heel racing, a little bar. So it's a great device. We can train our arms if we connect another piece bar on this hook, and then we can train our arms. And we do this with vacuum cylinders. So we have two big cylinders here, so there's no weight, but we pull vacuum, and of course this creates a lot of force, and this is how we train our muscles. So and not only our muscles, to put pressure on the bones is a very important aspect. So we prevent, or at least prevent total bone loss which you have in space, because yeah, if you're floating in half a year, you get brittle bones in that sense, and so you can lose a percentage of bone density. And with this device, we can do a lot against that. Now, and then the final part, which is the most beautiful thing of the station for your free time, but also for work with robotics or visiting spaceships, is the cupola. And it's pointed downwards, but for us it's upwards. And this is a fantastic place where we have 360 degrees view of the planet. You see, you will see a lot of cameras here, because you can imagine that it's nice to take pictures and to film our beautiful place. So we open some shutters because we want to protect the windows as much as possible from the outside and possible debris, and then we can have a fantastic view. So here we see our Soyuz, and behind it the Progress that we just visited both. And if you look down, you see the Russian segment, and on the end you see the automated transfer vehicle at the very end, where we also were. If we turn it around, we see the PMM, which is the cellar that we saw, and here we see the front of the space station with left Columbus, here the US lab in the middle, and on the other side we see the GEM, right? The external platform, and here we see part of the truss with the big solar panels. And if you look straight up or down, and I think we are looking yes at the Amazon, great view. Okay, so we go down from Cupola and then we finish our tour. I hope you liked it. It's a great space station, beautiful, a lot of different things to show, and it's great to float around here. Everything's floating around you, and a beautiful view. So I hope you liked the tour. I hope it's a bit clear. Even I get confused sometimes, so yeah, it's an interesting place.